authority, which has been set up to uphold information rights. They promote good practice in handling personal data and give advice and guidance on data protection. They maintain a public register of data protection fee payers. These data controllers pay a data protection fee, and that goes towards the financing of the ICO. They help to resolve disputes by deciding whether it's likely or unlikely that an organisation has complied with the Act when processing personal data. They take action to enforce compliance with the Act where appropriate and bring prosecutions for offences committed under the Act in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. If personal data becomes public, either through theft, malice or accident, it can result in distress and concern for data subjects, as well as increasing their exposure to the risk of fraud or other crimes through the use of their data. This can require a business to pay for credit monitoring and other services to reduce this impact. It can also result in bad publicity for the organisation, cause loss of trust, making it harder to obtain new business links, and some customers may wish to cancel their contracts. Even the simplest of breaches can become expensive to put right. The Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, has a statutory power to impose financial penalties on organisations if, firstly, there's been a serious deliberate breach of one or more of the data protection principles, or two, the organisation was aware or should have been aware that the breach was likely to cause substantial damage or distress and failed to take reasonable steps to prevent it. If you're not sure, these are the questions to ask. Could the data be used to identify my student? Could the data lead to potential harm? Was the loss malicious or deliberate? And were there sufficient steps in place to prevent reoccurrence? Who's liable? Failures to adhere to FCA rules on data security can also result in penalties. It's important to be aware that both businesses and individual employees could be liable. If you have tuition indemnity insurance, check that this covers you for data breaches. Can the ICO check on me? Yes, the ICO has powers to conduct assessments or audits of an organisation's processing of personal data to establish whether it falls under the banner of good practice. The ICO doesn't need consent from an organisation to carry out audits. Following the audit, the ICO will inform the organisation of their findings and conclusions. The ICO can make an application to a circuit judge, or in Scotland a sheriff, for a warrant to enter and search premises and to seize any evidence where there are reasonable grounds to suspect a breach of any of the data protection principles or that any other offence under the Act has been or is being committed. On the 5th of September 2018, the ICO fined Everything DM Limited, EDML, based in Stevenage, £60,000 for sending 1.42 million emails without consent. The investigation found that between May 2016 and May 2017, the firm used its direct marketing system called Touchpoint to send emails on behalf of its clients for a fee. Those emails gave the impression they were sent by the clients directly, and EDML couldn't prove that the recipients had ever given consent to receiving marketing emails from its clients or itself. The investigation revealed that EDML relied on the consent of third parties, but didn't take reasonable steps to make sure the data complied with Privacy and Electronic Communications Regulations, PECR. So what can you do to avoid this? Make sure that any bulk emails, such as newsletters, go through a GDPR compliant sender, such as MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, or MailJet. Never send out a newsletter from your email address directly, and never add someone to your mailing list without explicit consent. On the 1st of August 2018, the ICO fined an East Sussex marketing company £100,000 for making 75,649 nuisance calls. AMS Marketing Limited of Peacehaven made the calls to people who had opted out of receiving marketing calls by registering with a telephone preference service, TPS. This is against the law unless people give specific consent to receive marketing calls from a particular company. The ICO investigation found no evidence that AMS Marketing had done that. As tutors, we may consider marketing directly to potential parents, either by calling a purchased list of names or approaching people. This can lead to tricky situations, and where contact details have been purchased, there is almost certainly a data breach somewhere along the line.